A very good morning, students. Welcome back to the online classes. As your midterm is over, and I hope you all have given your exam very well. After your exam, you have got 1 week holidays also, and I know you all have enjoyed your holidays, isn't it, students? Yes. So now come back to study mode and let's begin today's class from poem 3.3, and the name of the poem, as you can see, is Daffodils. What is the meaning of daffodils, students? Do you know the meaning of daffodils? The meaning of daffodils is a yellow bell shaped flower with a long stem that is commonly seen in the spring. Here in the image, in the picture also, here you can see the picture of daffodils flowers. It is a kind of flowers and the color of flowers is yellow. Now this poem, that is the Daffodils, is written by the poet William Wordsworth. The name of the poet is William Wordsworth, one of the most well-known poet in the English language. Now let's also look at who was William Wordsworth and how did he feel inspired to write this poem, and that's an interesting story in itself. Students, he, that is William Wordsworth, is the biggest romantic poet, and when we use the word romantic poet, it essentially means that he used commonplace language, that is the language that you and I speak normally, in order to express it in poetry, so that common man and woman, that is us, would be able to understand it in a much smooth way, or even I can say much more easily. Now William Wordsworth, he was also a great lover of nature, and that's what we find in many of his poems, especially in this poems. Which poem? Daffodils. And now I want to tell you that how William Wordsworth got an idea to write this poem. Once, when William Wordsworth was walking with his sister, he came upon the sight of a belt of daffodils beside a lake, with the wind blowing along with the flowers, and the sight there, that is of the yellow flowers, is what inspired William Wordsworth to write this beautiful, or I can say remarkable poem. He goes on tell that the reader that long after he had this kind of experience, and the memory of the sight of those daffodils would lift his spirits whenever the poet, that is the name of the poet is William Wordsworth, felt dejected, that is depressed, essentially whenever he felt sad. In all, he wanted to say that the nature has the power to heal the situation one is going through. What I said, nature. We all know that how nature is beautiful, and also it has the power to heal the situation. If we are sad, then we should spend time with nature so that it can heal everything. It means whenever one is feeling low or sad, you just go and try to spend time with this kind of wonderful flowers, which can actually lift up your spirits. Now I would like to recommend you all that whenever you are feeling low, just go into a garden and try to spend 5 to 10 minutes, not more than that. If you want to spend, it's okay, but try to spend 5 to 10 minutes minimum and look at all those greenery, and by looking all those flowers, you will actually feel a lot of positiveness in yourself. For example, you are studying very hard, especially in the months of your exam, and you would need all these kind of positive energy. And yes, nature has the power to provide positive energy on you. So there is this learning that you can actually take from this poem The Daffodils by William Wordsworth and also use it in your daily life. Now let's get started with the poem. I hope you all have the book in front of you, students, and also keep a pen or a pencil and a paper so that you can take down the notes that is important and which you can use in your answers and also will be helpful for remembering the things. Okay, now first I would like to start with the reading of the poem. So let's start with the first stanza. Here you can see the 5 numbers and 10 numbers. These are for the lines, to show the lines that these are the number 5 lines and 10th one, like this. So numbers are for that. So let's start with the reading of the poem. First stanza. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Continues as the stars that shine and twinkle in the Milky Way. They stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For oft, when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude, and then my heart with pleasure feels, and dances with the daffodils. Now here at last, the name of the poet is given as William Wordsworth. Now student, after reading, let's come to first stanza. I wandered lonely as a cloud. In the very first line, you can see the word wandered. What does the word wandered means here, students? It means walk or move aimless way. In another word, I can even say, we can also say moving around little endlessly. But at the same time, here in the first line, it is given that I wandered lonely as a cloud. Here, what is a cloud, student? A cloud is something which can actually move from one part of the sky to another over the earth. So in that sense, it also conveys a sense of being very well traveled. Traveled means it is using for a cloud. That cloud moves from one place to another. So a sense of being very well traveled here we are using. Poet has used this. So here poet is wondering, that is moving around aimlessly, and also it shows that he is a very traveled man, or he has seen a lot of the world. Now the next important word here in the first line is the word lonely. That means He is alone. He is all alone. He is not having any company. Just like a cloud, each cloud moves around, though they are a part of a group. It actually moves around. Now see the second line. In the second line, it is given that floats on high over vales and hills. That floats, it means cloud. Cloud floats on high over vales. Vales means valley. And hills is for mountain. So floats move slowly in the air. The cloud is moving and slowly in the air on high, in a very high place, or I can even say in heaven, in the sky. Vales, as I said you, vales is for valley, and hills we can say is for mountains. So the cloud floats, that is moved from one place to another on high over valleys and hills, that is mountains. When all at once I saw a crowd. Here I is used for the poet, that is for the speaker. Okay? So, while the cloud is giving you the imagery being a cloud, means you have to imagine everything, that he is giving a kind of imagination. He is giving means the poet is giving a kind of imagination to you, that being a cloud which from the top, almost like a drone shot, and he can see a wide area that is filled with golden daffodils, that is golden yellow daffodils. When all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. Host here is a large number of golden daffodils beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Fluttering and dancing in the breeze. So here the meaning of daffodil, as I said you, that a tall yellow spring flower shaped like a trumpet. Beneath, the meaning of beneath is under. Fluttering here we used for moving lightly and quickly. And breeze, the meaning of breeze is a light wind. So here, after reading this first stanza, we can understand the location of the daffodils. What we can understand, that where the daffodils are located. So by reading this first stanza, after completing this first stanza reading, we can say the location of the daffodils. That is, it is beside the lake, just as the poet had seen it when he was traveling along with his sister beneath the trees, that is under the trees. Why is it under the trees, students? Because these daffodils, the daffodils are short flowers. So obviously below the trees and fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Fluttering means moving lightly and quickly. In the breeze means in a very light wind. So look here, students, the words used by the poet is really wonderful. And how he is conveying and creating a beautiful imagination in one's mind. That how the cloud was able to see from the top the natural beauty which the poet, that is the William Wordsworth, has described in the first stanza. And also the breeze, that is a light wind, that is making the daffodils dance, and the poet obviously finds this entire scenery to be one of extraordinary beauty. So what we have learned in this stanza, students, that I here is used for the poet, that is for the speaker. He himself is wandering as a cloud. It means he is watching everything as a cloud from the top of the hills, that is valleys and mountains, and whatever he has noticed he is describing in these lines. So I wandered lonely as a cloud. He was walking lonely, he was all alone, and he was telling himself as a cloud, that he is a cloud that is moving from one place to another, that is, that floats, that moves slowly in the air from one place to another over valleys and hills. It means vales and hills here is given, it means valleys and mountains. When all at once I saw a crowd. When he was moving as a cloud, he saw a crowd, and the crowd he saw, it was of a host, a large number of golden yellow daffodils beside the lake. Where he saw that? Beside the lake, beneath the trees. Beneath means under the trees, the daffodils flowers were there, fluttering. It means moving lightly and quickly and dancing in the breeze, means dancing in a very light wind. So students, hope you all have understood the first stanza. In the next video, I'll continue with the second stanza. Thank you, students.